I'm Matt Cerrone from MetsBlog.com and SNY.TV, talking with David Wright, Mets third baseman. So I guess what I'm really interested in is listening to Razor Shines. Like, he's awesome, and he seems to be really pushing and motivating you guys. And his big thing that he's been talking about, it seems, is this: there's a price to pay for a ring. You know, I've heard him repeat it like a dozen times. First off, what do you make of that? And like, are people buying into that theme? Because fans are. I mean, we're pumped.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it starts from Jerry. There's a lot of similarities between Razor and Jerry. Razor brings a lot of excitement to the clubhouse. He brings a lot of energy, and I think that's good. I think the players feed off of that, and we see the excitement that he has, and we go out there and try to match that excitement.
So I also know there's a ton of media around here. They did like a little media training with you guys that some of the beat writers were talking about. You've been around for a while now. I mean, do you find when you have to do things like this, and I saw the other day you were with Mets Weekly having lunch. Do you find that you start getting a little more guarded and kind of protected, or do you? I mean, how does that work? Because I know, like I interviewed you a few times early on, and then, I noticed that, it's not. I wouldn't say cliched, but like, you know what you're doing. Like, you're media savvy, and that's good. But do you feel that?
Well, it's I've learned that if you're open, you're honest, you're candid. Because if you try to lie or if you try to pull a fast one on the New York media, they're gonna find you out. You go up, and I think accountability is big, and I think that's something that we try to preach to the new guys that are here in New York and to the younger guys coming up, that you have to be honest, you have to be open, you have to be accountable, good or bad. There's a lot of guys that want to talk to the media after they do well or hit a big home run or make a big pitch, but you don't want to hide when you play poorly or you make the losing error or make the losing pitch. So I think if you're accountable, good and bad, in front of your locker, if you're open, you're honest, the media will give you a fair shake.
And then what about guys like me, like with blogging? I mean, I would think that that's got to be on people's minds, knowing that anywhere you go, people with cell phone cameras. Like, now in my case, I want you guys to win. I'm a huge Mets fan, so but there are people out there that are going to do crazy stuff. Like, are you guys all cognizant of that?
Well, unfortunately, there are some people out there that want to see the negative side of everything, and you just have to be aware that you are a role model, that there's a lot of kids that look up to you. So when you go out, you have to make the right decisions. I remember Guy Conti, when he was our field coordinator in the minor leagues, used to say there's choices, there's decisions, there's consequences. So if you think of the consequences before you make those decisions, then I think you'll be pretty good. Especially, with me, I have 3 younger brothers. So, I don't want them to turn on the TV or go on the internet and see something, negative, or me making an idiot out of myself. So I try to think about that when I go out there and make those choices.
I know you grew up a Mets fan. Shea Stadium is where you made your debut. And now with that gone, I'm wondering if there's a sense of, sadness that it's gone, but also that it's maybe a clean slate.
Yeah, I think it's obviously, I have a lot of memories at Shea Stadium, both playing there and watching it on TV. But the way that the season's ended the last couple years, I think that, it's a good opportunity for us to kind of put that behind us and move into a beautiful new home and, make our mark on a brand new chalkboard. So, I'm excited to get over there. I'm excited to get going. And, I've worked out there this winter. And it's a beautiful place, and I can't wait to get this team with our speed, in there, because it looks like a big place and it's going to play to our advantage.
Cool. And I'm watching you guys out there doing BP, and I'm always impressed actually with how much you work on little things. Is there anything that maybe fans wouldn't even think of, that's something that you're aware of, that you're really working hard on this spring that maybe people wouldn't expect?
Well, I just think that, like you said, the little things. You go out there and you want to, not turn into a robot where you're just going out there and doing it for the sake of doing it. You want to work on things, work on little things. Pretend like it's the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, bases loaded when you take each swing. You want to go out there and pretend like, each ground ball is going to win or lose you the World Series. You want to go out there and not just go through the motion. Really, work on things, work on going the other way, work on, pretending in your mind there's a runner on third, less than 2 outs, and trying to drive him in. So you try to work on those things, in the batting cage, each and every swing.
And then lastly, I'm a huge Mets fan. Is there anything that you want to ask me about fans? The way we behave, or things that maybe we do in the off season and say that maybe I can.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've run across my fair share of hitting coaches out there in New York. you strike out with a couple guys on, and you got a bunch of hitting coaches. But I think that my question would be, if you guys kind of ride the same emotional roller coaster, which I'm assuming you guys do since you're in New York, that the players do, because you can tell just kind of by the look on our faces, after game, whether we win or lose. But as fans, I'm sure you guys kind of wear your emotions on your sleeves just like we do.
The emotional roller coaster is ridiculous. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, they treat it as like 162 mini seasons, But I do think there's sometimes that fans think maybe you guys aren't emotional enough. I'm sure you hear that, like, oh, they're not, passionate the same way that fans are.
Well, I think you have to. I think it's twofold. I'm pretty emotional. I take things, to heart when things don't go well, but at the same time you have to realize that you can't get caught up in thinking about yesterday's game when you have a game to play that day. So you can't harp on the negatives for too long, because before you know it, you're in a different situation in another game, and if you're still thinking about, man, I didn't get the job done yesterday, that affects you today. So you have to, the best saying, and I'm going to steal it from the clubhouse one day, is the minor league clubhouse, they have a sign that says, if what you did yesterday still looks big today, you haven't done much today. And that's kind of the saying and kind of the motto that I try to live by over the course of 162 games.